All right, we're going live. So, this is my most recent live show. I haven't done one in about 2 months. So, I wanted to catch up after everything. I've been out of town and trying to get some stuff together for Halloween. Didn't quite get as much stuff as I wanted together, but you can't win them all. But everything's been good, just keeping busy, going through a lot of changes right now, and a lot of personal stuff going on in the background. I'll get to it all, but a little bit later because I want to do for the first half. I want to let's see. Hold on just a second. Yeah, live stuff every time there's something. But I want to get into a review first, and then I want to talk a little bit about what is going on with Flix and Joystix. I know there's always something going on, but I've actually nailed out a little bit more of a plan. And boink. Hello, John. How are you, buddy? So I wanted to talk a little bit about what's going on. I've actually got like a plan, a timeline. I finally got some other things in the background. Again, I'll explain everything, but I wanted to start with a little bit about the chilling adventures of Sabrina. So have you seen that yet, John? Well, it just came out shortly before Halloween. I'll do a little bit of behind the scenes. I'll try to keep the spoilers based off the answer that you give me. But The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina is based off a 2014 comic that was from the Archie horror imprint, which did the Afterlife with Archie comic. If you haven't seen that yet, hi, Julie, how are you? If you haven't read Afterlife with Archie, it was a great comic book, but the publishing schedule was all over the place. It was incredibly inconsistent, and I don't even know what issue it ended on. I think somewhere around 10 or 12 or whatever, but Afterlife was great, and then Sabrina came out, and I know they had about 8 issues of that. But unfortunately, the thing with the Archie horror series, the stories are awesome. Hello, Doombot, how are you? The stories are awesome, just the scheduling is bad. It's like early 90s Image Comics level bad on how they get things out. But the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina is the second Archie TV show that's come out past Riverdale. I haven't watched Riverdale. I haven't made up my mind if I want to check that out or not. I'm watching 800 other shows right now. But the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, or as I've taken to calling it, the Chilly Adventures of Sabrina, which I just envision Sabrina driving around Texas, sampling recipes and solving crimes. But it's my joke, and I've said it often, but I'm staying with it. By God, it's the funniest thing ever. Trust me. But the new show is good. I liked it. It did take me a little while to get into it. Probably about episode 4 is when it really clicked for me. There were a lot of great things with it, but there was also some problems. One of the biggest problems I had with it was that the earliest episodes, they just really went above and beyond on the fisheye lens, which I understand was a creative decision on their part, but it just came off really, really bad. I wonder if they'll delve more into Harvey tunes, like a dark version of Casper and Wendy. I mean, I feel like we're living in a dark world of Richie Rich. Yeah, I could kind of see that. They're kind of keeping it that, but that was the thing about Afterlife with Archie. I read a little bit of Chilling Adventures, the comic, and I know Archie, it was gruesome and horrific, but you didn't feel like it was terribly out of place because they kept all the thematic elements of the standard Archie comic. Jughead certainly likes to eat, and the Veronica Betty trope still is in there, but for Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, it's just the fisheye lens for the first 3 episodes was killing me. It just constantly. I know there's a character in there that made the announcement that they are progressively going blind, and I felt like we were continuing that journey with them because it was very distracting. It's like you'd have one focal point and everything else is just completely blurry regardless of where it was in matter of perspective. So it really bothered me. And I like the stylized look of it. It's modern times, but it also feels like a 1960s vibe as well. The only thing is, I wasn't interested in a lot of the initial subplots. The modern themes didn't seem to fit that 1960s aesthetic. And what's funny is some of the stuff that I really didn't care for at the beginning. It was more like let's get to the chilling part and less of the modern day stuff. I live that. I don't need to see that every day. But it was funny that some of the biggest plot issues that I had with it, they cleared up, and it wasn't that they resolved, it's just that they weren't mentioned anymore, which I thought was an interesting choice, which was fine by me. I didn't care for a couple of the elements anyway, and they just kind of got into the spooky time, and that was fine. As far as the rest of the series went, I started to really grow and like it over the progression of the series. My two favorite characters are Zelda and Hilda. I think they could do a whole spin-off show with just those two, and I would be completely fine, like Younger Adventures or whatever. But I would be completely cool just watching those two do their thing. I like the character of Ambrose. He was probably one of the more common sense characters in the entire series. He didn't do anything above and beyond, but at the same time, he was the one who kept his cool and seemed to have a practical answer for everything, and I just liked him. I think the thing with me, it was when it got into the normal world, it didn't seem as interesting to me at first, but then as the series progressed, I think they gave some of the characters more things to do, which I think really helped them. Yay for good writing. No wisecracking Salem. This is one spoiler. Salem is in there. They give a little bit more of a twist to his backstory. Does he talk like he did in the old 90s show? No. Salem is there, but he's not as prominent as he is in other interpretations. But they got into the spooky time, as I'm going to call it for all intents and purposes for this. And I think the show resolved well. I wasn't... That's one thing. I wasn't quite sure how I felt about the ending. I can see why they did it, but it seemed to undo all the work that they've set out over the entire course of this series, and I kind of thought initially it was going to go another way. It didn't, but I'm guessing they'll eventually do a season 2 and probably explain some of it, because it wasn't so much of a cliffhanger that they left it on. It was just like, okay, well, how is this going to work out, sort of thing. And it was an interesting series, and overall, I liked it. It just takes time, at least it did for me anyway, to get into. But I think once it found its place and once it established its characters and got into the whole chilling aspect, I think it was enjoyable. I don't think a lot of people are probably going to enjoy some of the more thematic elements, because the witches of this series are very dark, and they worship the Dark Lord, and they will quite often say Hail Satan in that, which it doesn't bother me because it's a story, but I can imagine some people probably aren't going to be down for that and probably just be instantly turned off by that. Because the only thing I had a problem with it is just that they said it a lot in every episode, and it was like, all right, I get it. Let's move forward. You don't have to. It just seemed like it was kind of a crutch in some points, and other than that, it didn't do anything either. It wasn't bad enough to really just ruin anything, but it was interesting enough that it it just I think a little bit of moderation, but that seemed to be the whole theme of the show as it progressed. Misrepresentation of pagans. A little bit, I could see that. All the characters worship the Dark Lord. Well, the witches did, but they weren't bad. They certainly that was the deity they chose and referred to, and that was really. I mean, certainly there were some bad characters, but some of the characters that followed that particular path were not bad. Zelda and Hilda were a good case of that, and even Ambrose. But they weren't entirely good. Even Hilda, which I think was probably one of the sweetest characters in the series, she had little hints that if you pushed her too far, you would probably regret that. So, but again, I thought the casting was good. I enjoyed everybody in it, and I will be curious to see what they plan to do with season 2. I'm sure season 2 will be inevitable. I know there has been some, not rumors or definite talk, but always that hopeful talk that it'll intersect with Riverdale. And if it does, I would hope that they would at least try to adapt the Afterlife with Archie storyline, just because I'd like to see how twisted and dark they could make that, because that was a great series. I was sorry to see that go by the way it did. It just it didn't conclude. It just went away. I think that's the best way I can wrap up that series. And I didn't read all of the Chilling Adventures comics, but I don't know if issue 8 was the conclusion of a limited series, or did it just suffer that Afterlife did. All right, so that is what I thought. I would definitely recommend it. It's definitely good to check out. Just mileage may vary. It finds its place in episode 4 is my recommendation. All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about what Flix and Joystix is up to, because a lot of changes are coming. And as I said, I'd talk about all that. I'm probably going to be changing my look back here drastically in a few months. You'll probably see an all new room for this laying out. One of the things that I've gotten recently, thanks to a birthday present from the missus, is I have a 4K camera now. So that's going to change up a lot of things for me. You'll probably have seen it in a couple of my videos, not the retro remix ones, more the newer videos I've done, and certainly not this, since I'm using my laptop webcam. But it frees me up to do a lot of ideas that I was previously restricted to, because no one's going to take me seriously running around with a laptop in my hands all day, because it's going to get weird. But now I have a camera that takes still photos, and it also does video. So it's going to get real, and you're going to see every pore on my face, and it will be awesome. So what's going on? I'm doing a couple new little mini shows within what I'm doing. Because right now I just do the standard, what's going on, what am I reviewing? I do Retro Remix, which is kind of a recut of all my older content. And I just kind of wanted to put it all in one place. And that gave me a chance to fix a few things, because those earlier videos, I just didn't know what I was doing in editing. And now that gives me a chance to fix that. But I'm gonna take care of all that. And actually, Retro Remix, I might as well just say it. Retro Remix is going to be wrapping up shortly, because I only have a set number of videos for that. And once that's done, that's done. It's not the end of the world. But it was always going to come to a close, and it's getting closer to that time. I'll probably put a few more of those videos out just to kind of clear out that slate, so I can focus on the other projects and not have to think about, oh, what am I going to have to do with these? When do I put one out? So that's going to be wrapped up. But there's the regular show, Retro Remix, and the occasional live show, just kind of talking, catching up with people. So what I'm going to do, if you've had an opportunity, you probably saw an image I put out of Flix and Joystix video. Kind of a fun little thing. Again, the missus, thanks for the photo assist on that. The little art credit goes to that. Goes to her, sorry. But I'm going to do Flix and Joystix video, and I think that's going to be a series where it's probably not going to be mainstream movies like what's out right now. It's not going to be... It's going to be what you see like in a video store. It's like, I'm going to rent this because the cover looks interesting. I'm going to rent this because there's nothing else there. There are probably going to be some of the cheesy bad movies. There are probably going to be some cult favorites. There's going to be some weird stuff that I'm going to put in there, and just kind of fun. So I want to flesh out that concept before I launch it, because I kind of want that's one of the things I haven't done with a lot of my recent videos. I haven't done a lot of thematic stuff, and I kind of miss doing the great sketch comedy stuff that I was enjoying. It takes time, because I have to think that out, whether like this is just improv, me talking live. I have to think it out and get camera angles, and that just takes a little bit more time. And I want to make sure if I'm going to do a new show concept, I do it right. And that's going to be costuming and backdrop and props and other stuff outside of just the standardized review, which it'll still be a review show. It'll still be a review segment, but just kind of want to have a little more fun with it, with a themed backdrop. I'm thinking about doing a Saturday morning cartoon showcase. That is not the title of it. I'm still working on that. There's a bunch of stuff I'm working on, but I'm narrowing it down conceptually what I want to do. But I want to talk about Saturday morning cartoons. Everything from Batman to Ghostbusters to, like all the other shows. God, I can't believe I drew a blank. Captain N, Dungeons and Dragons, Amazing Spider-Man, X-Men, a lot of the classics. I would like to help you out with what you need. I would appreciate that. I appreciate any help I can get, especially with this fledgling show. So we can talk offline and go from there. Awesome. Thank you, John. I appreciate that. So I just want to talk about Saturday morning cartoons. That probably won't be quite as ambitious as the Flix and Joystix video, but just be us talking cartoons. And that's how that one will go. I need to figure out a name for the thing. Short films. I want to do more short films. Of course, there's the infamous Sandwich the Motion Picture, which I shared till the ends of the earth over the last few years. And, I always have a soft spot for that film, but I want to do other things as well. And I feel like I want to get back into short films now that I have a decent camera. So I'm going to start plotting out stuff for that. It may just be weird stuff. It may be narrative-based stuff. I may just throw some interesting things in here and see what sticks. So we'll go with that, but I will always try to put out some little random thing. And I might actually do some documentary work just because I've been working on a lot of history book stuff, and it's been kind of interesting in terms of what I've been finding. I don't want to touch too much on my book tonight, but I guess I'll just say that my book is coming along. I've got a couple chapters done. There's still a great amount of work that I need to get taken care of, namely writing a couple things and just getting some information together, because it's so hard to find some of this stuff that I'm writing. But as I get closer to release, I'll talk about the book and just share some of the concepts behind it. But it's all related to the Flix and Joystix, and also just kind of that video store arcade era. But so that's one of my ones. I might actually do a documentary about some of the subjects. It could be fun, just depending on what I can find, time, availability, location, all that. So the other thing I want to work on is game streams. I have not put enough joysticks in the Flix and Joystix, and I want to fix that eventually. That is something I want to do. I want to get together and do live game streaming, whether it's old classic retro games or modern games, and talk about them, do reviews, have fun with it. It's a little hard for me to record gameplay footage, and that's one of the things I have been learning since my last live show. There's a lot of copyright stuff, because all these intellectual properties that you do whenever you discuss anything pop culture, it's always subject to copyright people. There's legit copyright holders, there's copyright trolls, as I've learned, and some companies are cool with you sharing their stuff. Other companies can't even bear you sharing 5 seconds of their stuff, or still images, as I've learned. So I've had to kind of retool some things based off that. But I gotta really see who is okay with sharing content. And obviously, these movies and video games are not mine. I just like talking about them, just from a reference point on that. And I just want to make sure I'm covering subjects that are not going to get me busted with numerous copyright infringements or strikes, or people who just there are just companies out there who basically do not want you talking about or sharing any of their subjects at all, period. That's kind of what I've learned. They just get so weird. They're the only ones who want to do it. And yeah, it's been interesting. And I've been fortunate enough not to really have to deal with it too much, but I've seen enough examples to really start rethinking and formulating how I want to present my own content when that time comes. But I want to stream games, and I want to talk more about games as time goes on. But right now I have a whole roster. Halloween and fall and Christmas are just a very busy time, and I've already got a backlog of stuff I want to cover for the next few weeks. So I'm going to be focused on that January of next year, that's going to be a whole other different story. So the other thing that's going on, I think I'm probably video 38, 39, somewhere around there. But as I get closer to 50, I want to do a Patreon for the page. Obviously, there's no obligation. My content's always going to be free. It's always going to be available to whoever wants to watch it. It's just, if you like my stuff, if you want to help me improve the quality of what it is I'm doing, help give me the opportunity to expand it out, go try new things, get new equipment, things like that. That's just one of those things. If you'd like to support me, awesome. I'll make it worth your while. If you just want to watch, I appreciate it anyway. Thank you. There's a billion shows out there. I'm merely one of them, and a small one at that. So anyone who watches my stuff, I just say thank you, because that's means a lot. It helps encourage me to keep going on, and that's the whole point of all these videos, right? So that's a couple of the ideas that I have planned. I just, I've tried to figure out the best plan for this whole show in terms of what do I want to do? What do I want to talk about? And certainly I work, online, and I like sharing content and sharing my thoughts. And there are just certain interests that I have that I think are best represented here, because one of the things that I like to do is I like talking about a lot of subjects. I like all the modern pop culture stuff, whether it's Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, but then I also like bad movies. I also like quirky comic books. I also like retro gaming, and I've had some interesting experiences, and I just want to share some of those experiences in a way where I just am able to I just want to share those experiences in a way that's comfortable and just really gets my passions out there, because I can get into some deep, quirky, weird stuff that either people may or may not like, may or may not get, or may not ever heard of. And that's my whole thing. I just want to share. And if you've never heard of it before, maybe you'll actually look into it. Like one of the best examples of that is creating Rem Lazar. That was another early birthday gift from the missus. That was a YouTube discovery long time ago. But it was one of those things, because it's so damn weird that you want to really just see what the whole thing's about. And finally, I sat down and watched Creating Rem Lazar. And, well, I've shared my opinions on it, and things really haven't changed from back then. It's a weird-ass show with some interesting creative choices, and that one crazy song that everybody knows from several million views on YouTube. But I went in and talked about the entire film past that clip, and that's kind of like the idea I'm doing. I just want to get into the other stuff past just like a tiny bit of this subject, but I want to get into a little bit deeper. And I don't want to fully talk about all the regular mainstream stuff that everyone else is talking about, because it just gets lost in the shuffle. That's not to say that I won't, because there will come a point where I would like to review the upcoming Wreck-It Ralph film, and the upcoming Fantastic Beasts film, and Bumblebee actually looks good. I can't believe I'm saying that about any modern Transformers film, but there you go. But I want to cover stuff like that, and I certainly always will. I just actually put out Venom and a Halloween 2018 review. Venom is cheesy, but I had fun with what it was. Halloween 2018 was great. It was surprisingly so. I just was hoping it would be decent, and I really enjoyed that film. I thought it was one of the better films that has come out this year, which I'm surprised as you are for saying that. But I also, again, I'm wanting to get into some other, as I said, I want to get into some other subjects that a lot of people don't cover. So whenever someone gets a wild hair and looks up a subject like I have in the past, at least I'm here to provide some sort of other context for it. I've covered outside of that. It's like, I did a retro remix of like RoboForce and the Star Ears, two old retro toy lines, and people remember them. People love those old toys, as I found out. and it's suited me well, just in terms of researching it. I had fun with that, and I hope to make other types of videos that kind of unearth that old love that people don't really talk about, or kind of rekindle that fun, nostalgic feeling. So that's kind of like my whole shtick right now. I'm just kind of wanting to make films and wanting to get into the quirky, weird stuff and just have fun with it. That's like my whole gimmick right now. But that's it on my end. I don't know what's been going on with you guys. I appreciate the people who have been checking me out during this show. I hope this has been an entertaining live performance. But so I've got a couple movie reviews. You know, with the holidays coming up, Thanksgiving, I know there's a lot of stuff coming out, and I know that I have a whole list of stuff. Like, I can talk a little bit about it. I'm debating doing a review on Batman Mask of the Phantasm and the original Superman, because Fathom Events is putting both those movies out this month. So check your listings. I think Batman is actually the 12th. So check Fathom Events on that. And then Superman, I think, is coming out in late November. It's a 4K transfer from what I understand, and I would love to see that on the big screen again. It's been a really long time since I've seen that, so I definitely want to check that out. But I've got a couple retro remixes that I want to do. There is a Kickstarter that I did recently about Fireball Island. It was an old 80s board game, and there's a lot of really cool videos online, so you might want to check those out if you're not really familiar with the subject. But I am due to get Fireball Island this month sometime. That's what they're saying. And if it turns out I get it in December, I'll just talk about it then. But I'll do an unboxing video because the game board looks absolutely huge, and I want to be able to show off what the board game looks like as I open it. It's kind of funny. I really didn't expect unboxing videos to be as popular as they are, but I did one on the Rocketeer statue that I got a couple months back, and that's one of the highest ranked videos on this channel, which is cool. Thank you for checking it out. I'm glad someone else cares about the Rocketeer. I might actually need to review that movie as well. Again, it's just a lot of movies that I want to get into, but only so much time, and I can only put out so much every month. But yeah, so I want to do an unboxing of Fireball Island when that comes in, because I got not only the core game, but I got like the expansion packs. One has to do with like a tiger, and one has to do with a shipwreck, and one has to do with bees. So I can't wait to see what they're doing. And all this stuff's represented by marbles, although the shipwreck's an actual side playset that you put in there. I think it shoots a cannon, if I remember correctly. But I've got a couple Kickstarter things coming in the next few months. Like there's a couple things I've supported. There's Fireball Island. There is a Midway documentary called Insert Coin. I don't know when that's coming out, to be honest. It was supposed to tentatively been out like a year and a half ago, and there hasn't been any update. I'm hoping that still comes out. I don't know why unboxing is unpopular other than just seeing the product. I catch myself watching thrift store finds or monthly unboxing of viewer items. Yeah, it's just funny. I guess people just like seeing what it looks like firsthand and people commenting on it. I'm totally cool with doing unboxing videos if that's what people like. So that's no problem at all. Oh, speaking of thrift store find, I found this at a store in Dallas. Hold on for a sec. And this is just freaking awesome. I actually used it on Instagram for whenever I do a new video, I try to put some personal item related to whatever the subject matter. And one of my last ones was Pac-Man. I found this in a thrift store. He's simultaneously hideous and beautiful at the same time. Look at this weird thing. But he is like, yeah, he's nightmares. He's total nightmares. Pac-Man with like a perfect set of teeth. Clearly he brushes. Good for him after all the eating he does. But I found this and it was like, I cannot leave this behind. This is just absolutely amazing. So I fell in love with this marvelous little statue. It's like something grandma would have on her, knick-knack shelf. And it's like, okay, you've got a weird thing. But yeah, I just love him to death. And I'm going to have to find the perfect place to put him before it's all over. Scary Pac-Man, yes. Scary Pac-Man indeed. But outside of Fireball Island and that Insert Coin documentary whenever it comes out, I'm going to be getting the last Blockbuster documentary. I backed that. That was kind of funny. The last I went as a Blockbuster video employee for Halloween, and that actually the documentary actually featured me on the Instagram, which I thought was cool. I was like, all right, that's awesome. And so I've got that, and a couple games, I think, like Bloodstained by the guy who made like Castlevania Symphony of the Night. I feel like there's something else. Oh, Trogdor, the board game. You know, after all the entertainment the Homestar Runner guys have given me over the years, it was like, all right, I have to get a board game where I burninate the peasants. So these are all unboxings and reviews that will be slated for the coming months as these things come out. So just keep that in mind. But that is, so yeah, that's just what's going on. You know, I'm out there just trying to write a book and make new content or repurpose older content and trying to come up with some new ideas to really give this an identity. And my whole thing is I'm here to entertain you guys. So if you have ideas that you'd like me to explore or subjects that, you know, what do I think on it? Maybe I can do something funny with it. I try to be funny in my videos. You know, that's always debatable, but people haven't, you know, set me on fire in effigy or anything. So I think I'm succeeding somewhere. But, you know, anything you guys wanted me to talk about, I'm open to suggestions. I'm open to different subjects, and we can certainly plan out videos. I've got a list right now. I want to do some unusual videos for Christmas. I've got a couple that I'd like to do. Like one of the ones I'm wanting to do is like the Pee Wee Herman holiday special. I was late to the party on that one. It was only not too terribly long ago that I saw that for the first time. So I think I want to do a review on that because it's so weird. And yeah, it warmed the weird part of my heart. So I feel like I have to talk about this down the line. Anyway, that's all the latest from me, and I appreciate you guys coming over and checking out what it is I'm doing and saying and all that other stuff. You've heard me ramble incessantly for almost 33 minutes now. Good job, guys. I appreciate that. But I think that is it, and I will try to drop some videos pretty soon. I've got the schedule is I want to get my list of November and December taken care of, and then after that's done, I'm hoping to be done mostly with the retro remix thing. And then at that point, I want to start exploring these ideas from like January to May of next year, where I will start implementing them to replace new shows. And I'm going to look at new cover art because I don't know how my cover art is being received. I like it a lot. I think it's really good. I just don't know if it's too much of a similar-ish wall of videos, and I don't know what people are watching it. Maybe that, you know, because I love the design and I think it's great. It's just that I think I need, outside of my main videos, which I will keep those the same, but I think for like the Flix and Joystix video and the Saturday morning, whatever I call it, I'll do some new cover art for that just to kind of break it up a little bit. I just don't want to have like a wall of the same thing because, you know, one of the things I've noticed on videos that a lot of people have to do ridiculous and dramatic poses for their cover art. I don't think I'm going to do that, but I'll figure something else out that will certainly be hopefully eye-catching. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you that next time. Take care.